Hello again everyone. I've been having a lot of fun recently with my Canon EOS R5 camera, whose 45 megapixel sensor allows me to test Canon's RF lenses at a much higher resolution than I ever could before. So I'll be testing a few of Canon's lenses on this new sensor for you all, in case any of you are interested in how they perform when really challenged. Today I have the RF 24-70mm f2.8 L IS USM, one of two extremely expensive fast standard zoom lenses for EOS R cameras. If you'd like to see a full review of this lens and not just some high resolution test images, then take a look in the description below for the link. Well, let's start at the widest angle of 24mm. At f2.8, in the middle of the image, we see excellent sharpness and contrast right away. The corner image quality is softer, but still very good, and contrast seems to be holding up well too. As you stop the lens down to f8 or so, you see some barely noticeable improvements. For a bright aperture standard zoom lens, that's a good start at its widest angle. Let's zoom in a bit to 45mm now. At f2.8, picture quality in the middle continues to be really excellent, perfect sharpness and contrast here, essentially. Again, in the corners, we see a slightly softer image, but still, it's very good. Stop down to f4 for a little more sharpness there, and the lens stays as sharp as you stop down to about f11. Stop down to f16 or so, and softness begins to creep in due to the effect of diffraction. Now let's zoom all the way into 70mm. In the middle of the image at f2.8, the picture is a touch softer than at wider angles, but only a tiny bit. That resolution is still pretty impressive. The corners look just a little softer again, but the lens is still scraping enough resolution together for a clear picture, just about. Just like at wider apertures, as you stop the lens down to about f8, you see some very tiny improvements in sharpness, so it is worth stopping down a little in very critical situations. Overall, well, the lens is still performing very well, even on a very high resolution camera here. In some places on its zoom and aperture range, it loses its sparkle a little bit compared with the test results I got from my 30 megapixel Canon EOS R, and that was probably inevitable. But frankly, the lens puts up a very solid performance no matter what you do with it, pretty much, especially considering we're looking at a fast standard zoom design, which is one of the hardest for manufacturers to construct. The most comparable lenses that I've tested to this one recently are the Nikon Z 24-70mm f2.8s and the Sigma 24-70mm f2.8 DG-DN Art, both of which are also specially designed for mirrorless cameras. Sorry, I haven't tested Sony's equivalent lens yet. Honestly, I looked carefully at the test charts and all three lenses performed similarly well. All three lenses were at their weakest at 70mm and their widest apertures, but always produced at least decently sharp pictures at all apertures and focal lengths. For reasons of affordability, I imagine a vast majority of Canon shooters are praying that Sigma will get their new lenses onto RF mounts soon, where they'll be pretty competitive. In the meantime, anyone who shelled out over $2,000 for this new Canon lens can sleep relatively easily, knowing that it's suitably up to the challenge of a high-resolution camera.